I'm Van.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Colby and Chip.
Mirror, mirror, this is the Epic Underground, led by the big homie, Drew Ligeri. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right. He's never corrected me, so inshallah I'm pronouncing it properly.
Ligeri?
Ligeri.
Oh.
It could be Legier, it could be Lige. My Lige. Okay. So this is the Epic Underground group. This is Blind Guardian. If you would like to join an alliance, entry is $1 on Patreon.
$1. Yep.
And then I've got access to all the alliance leaders, so then you can be part of an alliance. Mm-hmm. Drew is one of the. I mean, we lucked out pretty.
Oh my word, for sure.
Yeah, because we got Culpy, we got Drew, we got we just have really, really good, strong leaders, and they're very organizational, and it's pretty systemic. It's a pretty good job. If you have a certain, inclination, so like the black metal group is called the True Cult, but they're kind of hard to get into, to be honest.
There's a...
and then this is a
list, but
so they're all depending on what type of genre you lean to. You get hooked up with them. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
So once you join up on Patreon, if you send me a message on there, I will respond back to you, and I'll send you the list of how to contact each group and stuff like that. So
and then they've got it's not Reddit. What is it? The other
Discord.
Discord. Yeah. They get on the Discord server, big community, and you can make your case for your thingamajig.
It seems too that it's not just about like getting your song reacted to, although that is why they get together. But it seems like beyond that, they chill with each other, like online. So
they're genuine friends. Take care of each other, have discussions, all that. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so this group has selected Mirror Mirror by Blind Guardian. If you want to check out timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori.
Or My Sori Life to see our family and how things go behind the scenes.
For sure.
Okay, ready?
Go!
Wir möchten jetzt nochmal eure Hände sehen! Ein letztes Mal, lasst uns zur Tat schreiten. Mirror, Mirror, Amor, wir werden euch niemals vergessen!
That must have been another language. Whoa.
Well done.
What in the world?
Yeah, that was really good.
That was. We just heard two. Is Iron Man?
This is very uplifting.
Yeah. Pull up Trello real quick. Did we get any intel on the song?
Not really. Is it right here?
Song says from their album Nightfall in Middle Earth. Middle Earth. That's Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. Middle Earth. That's Lord of the... Okay, so this is about... Geez, the entire... Look at that, babe. 23 songs.
I know. That's crazy.
I bet you they're all good, too. I'd like to do a live album listening to these guys. But...
we have one of the albums.
Far, far beyond the island, we dwelt in shades of twilight. Mm-hmm. Through dreaded weary days, through grief and endless pain. So I don't know... Because I don't know anything about the middle... I mean... Lord of the Rings, obviously, but that whole world that Tolkien wrote was like huge. It had its own language and its own, you know.
And it wasn't like, I just saw the movies, you know what I mean? I didn't read the books. The books had a lot more, you know what I mean, of
really?
the world. And well, you know how books are.
Yeah.
More than...
Yeah, I read the first part of Lord of the Rings. It's really interesting because the orcs, like, they could talk and stuff. So, you know, in the movie, they were just more like raw, but they weren't really...
They did talk some, but not like... What, in the book there was a lot of talking?
They were a lot more intelligent. They were like, we're going to eat you and make barbecue sauce and...
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they had a lot more personality than in the movie.
Yeah, in the movie, they kind of just made them seem like they were just...
They were just brutes.
Almost robotic.
Yeah.
Accomplish what they need to accomplish.
Okay, so it lies unknown in the land of mine, a hidden gate to save us from the shadow fall. So they're in trouble again. You know, I wish guys like Tolkien and Lewis were around today, because we've got so much technology and such that if we could convince them to be a writer for one of these shows, like we're watching a show right now and it's getting kind of repetitive.
Yeah.
And it's like, although...
Well, put a new twist.
Yeah, the twist now in the show is pretty badass.
Yeah, because when I couldn't sleep last night, I was actually thinking, when she goes to where she's going, I'm being vague on purpose.
Right.
She's going to meet up with two people, and then she's going to have to decide who to share her heart.
No, because... Is he in the underworld?
The underworld is where the dead go.
No, it's hell. It's where bad people go.
I thought all the dead people went to that other place.
No, it's the underworld.
Man, I was hoping for some...
Yeah, well, he might end up there, because that would be some good drama, but they would have to explain why the guy's... How he's ended up... Which, I don't know, because...
I'm wide awake in my... I'm thinking of the plot. And I'm like, what else can I think about? I prayed some.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Okay, so this guy, the Lord of Water, spoke in the silent words of wisdom. I've seen the end of all. Be aware the storm gets closer. Okay, so the Lord of Water speaking to the protagonist and saying, hey, everything's gonna end, basically. Mirror, mirror. Okay, so here's a chorus. This is the same band. Remember, they were like, the crowd was singing.
Oh yeah.
And then
I remember.
The song went 2 minutes longer because the crowd was so
kept
into
going.
it.
Yes,
That's them, and I'm pretty sure it was the same show.
Yes, because the guy was wearing the same clothes.
He's wearing the exact same clothes.
I was like, wait, is this the wrong video?
I don't know what language that this guy speaks, but he was doing it at the beginning. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Maybe he was speaking that
Elvish language.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people are serious about that language.
Oh yeah, I know. I know. When I got that book, the first Lord of the Rings book, I remember thinking to myself, like, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to have the time to do this. But man, I wish I had like 9 of me. I really wish there were 9 of me, because there's so many things that I want to do that I just don't have the time for. But mirror, mirror on the wall, true hope lies beyond the coast. You're a damned kind, can't you see that the winds will change? Mirror, mirror on the wall, true hope lies behind the coast. You're
beyond the coast.
That tomorrow bears insanity.
I thought it was just like where they were living was it like something terrible was going to happen, but he was saying beyond this coast, there's hope there. Like they couldn't just stay. Maybe did I misunderstand what the song was about?
Well, it says, yeah, you're right. True hope lies beyond the coast. And then he says, you're a damn kind, can't you see? Mm-hmm. So I think it's like the guy doesn't want to leave, and the other guy's trying to convince him, you have got to go.
Tomorrow bears insanity. Like, you can't stay here.
It's going down tomorrow. Like, you got to get everybody out. But, like, and then the next line, gone is the wisdom of 1,000 years, a world in fire and chains and fear. Led me to a place so far deep down it lies my secret vision. I'll better keep it safe.
Aww.
Shall I leave my friends alone, hidden in my twilight hall? I know the world is lost in fire. Sure, there's no way to turn it back to the old days of bliss and cheerful laughter. We're lost in barren lands, caught in the running flames alone. How shall we leave the lost road? Time's getting short, so follow me. A leader's task so clearly to find a path out of the dark.
Yeah.
So, he's...
One person just seems like they're just falling under the depression of everything that's happening. But then...
That seems to be... And I don't know enough about the Lord of the Rings, but it seems to be a theme. Remember when... I don't know, it was in part 2. Part 2... You know where I'm going, right? Or do you?
No, I just was thinking about one of the parts when he's like, abandon your post!
Yes, that's what I was talking about, yeah.
And then he hit the wizard, hits him right in the head.
The white wizard's...
That part always made me laugh because I'm like, who does that? Abandon your post?
He said all hope is lost.
All hope is lost!
Yeah. So it seems to be like that, like,
well, they all, like, lots of them came to that point. There was, like, remember that other guy that, him and his they were brothers, and the father preferred him over his brother?
Yes.
He got to a point, too, where he was like, it's all, like, he thought everything was, like, hopeless and stuff like that.
Yeah, but he was like, everything is hopeless and we're gonna die fighting. The other guy was like, everything is hopeless and abandon, run for your life type of thing.
Don't even try to protect the women and children.
That's right. He was telling them to abandon everything.
Yeah, and the women were underneath that thing. They couldn't leave the city.
Yeah. And then my man, I forgot his name. Ian McKellen, though, was the actor. He basically, what the hell is wrong with you? Discouraging
no, he took the end of his thing and he clunked him right in the front of his forehead.
So it seems like so Tolkien's background was World War I. So him and Lewis served in World War I, which is a terrible, terrible war. Which psychologically, to some degree, I mean, these guys are dealing with trench warfare and the technology of these automatic weapons and whatever, and psychologically, to some degree, it's almost worse than World War II, because in World War II, you kind of knew that already going into it. We'd already experienced that in the western side of the world, so you were going into World War II knowing, but World War I, it was like
they didn't have
there's no precursor to it. Like the amount of destruction was terrible. Remember when I was listening to Hardcore History and all that? And they were talking, these kids getting caught up in those fences and taking days and days to die and all that. It's terrible. But so that's his background. So I bet you anything he ran into like a lot of hopeless moments, or just moments where people just lost it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Because
you just hit that point where...
How could you not?
Where people just lose it. So but that was the first time, that whole scene, that was the first time I've ever seen in a heroic epic where somebody just completely and totally lost hope. No, that's not true, because you read epics all the time and people basically come to the conclusion that they're not going to win, but it's always, we're going to go out fighting. Like, it's never... where the leader goes, oh my god, like, that's
because sometimes you'll see them like they abandon their post, and then everybody else is like, wait, what?
But
like,
and then somebody else comes along and says, screw that guy.
Flag and, but this was not that. It was the opposite. He hollers out to everybody. The man lost it.
He like, the dude went completely ballistic, and but like I said, like. And like, even in modern warfare, like, not to discount, the sacrifices that people have made in modern warfare, but it was nothing.
Oh man.
I mean, dudes who've been in combat will tell you that is nothing compared to what these guys went through.
I'm sure.
And the amount of despair and such that they must have run into. I'm sure they probably had some, lieutenant just melt down and lose it, you know.
Oh,
like it's
I
a
don't
really
see how
big
you could avoid
responsibility,
it. Yeah.
you know. So it, you know, to see that reflected in the story is pretty crazy. So it's like you're damned. You know, your only hope is to run away beyond the coast, and then he's got this cognitive dissonance about going back and forth with, you know, leaving his friends and leaving the lost road and all the rest of it. But
Yeah. Well, what did you think the lost road was? I thought the lost road was, because remember how he says, scroll up a little bit. He's talking about a little bit more. More.
what's the phrase? I'll just find
No,
it.
he's talking about like back to the old days of bliss and cheerful laughter. Like he's talking about the old ways, and then he talks about like kind of like keeping it in himself. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Like, so I didn't know if that's what they're talking about when he says, excuse me, let me just have this. When he says the, you know, how shall we leave the lost road? Like the lost road as in, like when you leave your land, because they have to leave because of whatever's happening to them. Like, how can you leave that, like, that lost road? Like, you want to get back to that. Like, it's your people, it's your ways, and all of that changes because some things that your people do, you do because it makes sense where you live. You know what I mean? Like, dumb example, but like if you had a tradition of like we used to shovel the driveway together as a family when I was growing up. We'd all go outside, everybody bundles up, and we'd scrape, and my father would tell us how his father taught him to shovel and do a good job and do it evenly, not all over the place, and you know what I mean? But if we moved to, you know, so he taught me and his father taught him, and well, we've all grown up in Maine, so that's why you do that. But if we moved to Florida, then we wouldn't do that anymore, you know what I mean? And so that tradition would be lost. But it's not like, I mean, obviously they had more meaningful traditions than just shoveling, you know what I mean? But those things I'm sure would get lost when you leave the place of your origin.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty crazy situation, and you know, obviously it wasn't the same. But leaving Jamaica to come to America, you know, even as a kid, initially, like I had that excitement, and then I was like, well, you know, you run into that unfamiliar, you know, and that's why, like, it would happen when, like, in Florida, so you'd have these tornado warnings or whatever, and you hear tornado warnings all the time and blah blah blah, and it's, you know, just bad weather or whatever. But then a hurricane's coming, and it's like, you need to evacuate, and there's always a group of people that will not evacuate. They won't do it.
Yes.
And it's because it's like you're just going to the next town. It's not, you know, but they don't want to leave home there, you know, and then basically, you know, you'll always hear the old guy out in front of the porch. It's stereotypical, but it's true. It's like, I was born here, I'm going to die here, and whatever, and, you know, it's all that. But, and then, of course, you know,
that's how people end up getting trapped.
you send a detachment down there to kind of help them and whatever. And sometimes people die.
Yeah.
Sometimes people die. Some people would rather die than leave that familiarity.
I never understood when people did that when they have kids. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you'll see them and their kid on the roof of their house, and it's flooding all around them.
Yeah, that's just they don't really believe it.
Yeah.
What people don't realize, if you're in that region, you hear those things all the time. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's always a. They're
always telling you to evacuate.
Well, not evacuate, but there's always a tornado warning. There's always a hurricane warning, and so like I've seen them in the air. I've seen funnel clouds in the air. Like, and it's a pretty crazy experience when you see it. It's like, but you see them, and then nothing happens to you. So it's like, well, I mean,
not gonna do that.
How serious is it really?
Yeah.
You know, like, there have been, I remember one time we evacuated, and then we came back, and there was like a tree that was like split. One of the palm trees were split. And that was, it was just a hurricane. Oh. And it kind of split the thing, like a toothpick basically. But everything else was relatively okay. Well, somebody turned the electricity came off. So when we got back in, the fridge was disgusting. Because it knocked out the... Yeah, but other than that, like, it was fine. Like, it was, you know, so it's one of those things where people don't want to leave because they don't really feel like, oh, yeah, one of these. But then it's like, okay, We shall see.
I'm sure sometimes people think that they can get out in enough time. If I see it's getting bad, then I'll. But
yeah,
that's not the case.
Yeah, there's that passage in Deuteronomy that's funny. Where is it? It's right. Hold on. Oh, here it is right there. Hold on. There it is right there. So when you're going to war, right? So like in the Old Testament, when you're going to war and you're lining up, if you were newly married, you could back out. If you just bought a house, you could back out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Is there a man who has built a new house and has not dedicated it? Let him go back to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man dedicate it.
Dedicate it?
Yeah, basically like, yeah, this is to the Lord and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, really?
And, like establish your house. But here's another one. And the officers shall speak further to people and say, is there any man who is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go back to his house, lest he make the heart of his fellows melt like his own.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're too soft to fight, get out of here. We don't need you. Like, go home.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to me. But it's smart.
Yeah.
You know, like...
You don't want those people that are going to make everybody else all nervous.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. There's people like that in every single... And you'd be surprised. You think like, oh...
Which ones?
Well, you'd be like, these guys are super soldiers. Like, you know, like, nope. Because at the end of the day, everybody's a human being. People are scared to die.
Yeah.
If you haven't reconciled the fact that you're going to die, then if you haven't made peace with that, then, whatever. It doesn't matter if you're a Navy SEAL. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way to scream that out of a person. Because there's no way to put that person in that situation until they're in that situation.
There's no way of knowing.
Then you got some, rugged, grunt, 18-year-old Marine, and they're completely fearless. It's just the luck of the draw, man. Like, some people... And there was a study that was done on it. I forgot his name. It was like Grossman or something like that. The guy that wrote the book on killing.
Yeah.
And there was a study on it, like, which type of personality type was more adept at facing, staring death in the face. Like, this guy, all he does is talk about killing and death. That's all of his study, it's particularly in war, and it's required reading. And and then you have to basically say, are you that type of person? And you say, of course I am. And,
oh my gosh.
it's part of your assessment stuff. But anyway, yeah, it's just that passage was always fun to me because I couldn't imagine, because it's not like that in America. In America, if you sign up and you're scared, it doesn't matter. Like, you're there,
or that you just got married or didn't dedicate your house.
Yeah, they're pushing you out of that bird, family.
Well, but the thing is, it also says, if there's any man who has planted a vineyard and has not enjoyed its fruit, let him go back to his house, lest he die in battle and another man enjoy his fruit. It's just, they're giving all these reasons, but I think that that's because God would fight the battles for them. You know what I mean? So like, they can say, all right, for this reason, that reason, that. You can all go home.
Right. Seduct. Yeah. Which has some really interesting implications on American Christianity, but that's a whole different topic. So, that being the case, good song. I wish I had more Lord of the Rings background. I need somebody in the comment section to give us a little bit more background on what exactly we were looking at.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able, I usually pin the most detailed, whatever. So, yes, we do look at the comment section all the time. What do you give the song?
9.6.
Yeah, it's a solid 9 for these guys. This crowd, this was just a really, really good show. This crowd was really into it, and the crowd, like, I don't know what they call that thing when they start.
Yeah.
But like, the crowd knew exactly what it was, when to do it, and all that. It's just crazy. It must be crazy to be an artist and write something so important to you, and then hear people like they know every single. Like sometimes I'll put on one of my songs or whatever, and the kids are just like, I was like,
yeah,
very important. All right, 9 for me.
9.6.
Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.